on.
Is it
Well,
microphone's mic unmuted?
what's that?
The mic's unmuted?
Yeah, everything's good to go. We're recording.
Still learning.
So this is episode 6
Already
of this podcast from the Mindful Lotus.
Yes.
Yeah, great. And it's like we've had some pretty interesting conversations through the last 5 episodes.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, and we've met some pretty cool people. There's a lot of people still on the agenda that are slated to come in and hang out with us here and share their experience and their spiritual energy with us, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So today we want to talk about life, right?
Yes.
Us.
Yeah.
But more so, I think what I would like to talk to you and Louie about is just just getting started in life, like, and sustaining yourself in life, because you own a business, Louie owns a business, which obviously we're all self-employed, right?
Yeah.
And if people are out there, they have ideas, they have a desire to do something more than what they're doing right now, and they just don't really understand, or they don't have anybody to help them.
Right.
And so I think that, if I'm able to tap into your guys' brain a little bit about some of the challenges and some of the obstacles that you've had to endure, or challenges you've had to endure in building a business or just getting started and allowing your dream to come true, I think people would be interested to know, like, how do I even get started?
Right.
So I think with that, I'd like to let's start with Louie. Okay.
All right.
So Louie, not only do you do, all the services here, like Reiki and what other services do you provide? Sound bath,
breath work, Tai Chi, and cupping.
Okay.
Yep.
So you do another job outside. You have another company that does construction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've been doing that for a while, and you're really good at it. I know that from experience. But making the transition from that over into what you're doing here at Mindful Lotus, like, how did that even happen? Like, how did you even get started? I mean, what was it that inspired you to change directions from being, in the construction business and working with people that way, to making the transition into this spiritual realm and, working with people that way? Like, what was your first experience in?
Well, the construction pays a lot of money. So that's why I like the job too, and plus I have over 25 years experience in construction. Supervisor, regional manager, but what got me into the other work I do, like Reiki, Neigon, it's the peace and the people. And so it's totally different about the energy you're working with.
Right.
And it's mostly the people you're working with.
So what was your first experience in that? Like, what made you say, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to help people. Like, what was that first experience? Was it a book that you read? Was it something that you saw on TV? Was it somebody that you met? Like, what started that journey for you?
Well, I started over 9 years ago. First, I felt I had a gift, intuitive, and the energy that I was, when I went to different people, different mediums, they were telling me, like, you had this gift, and I was like, okay, didn't pay much attention to it, but I noticed that the more I was around those people, or like Angie, and I just felt more comfortable to it, and I was thinking, like, well, okay, I can help a couple people here and there that need it, but it really became a full-time job when I was working with when I came here with Angie.
Okay.
It's a journey. It's not easy, but it's I feel it's well, how can I say the right word?
It's rewarding.
Rewarding.
Oh, yeah.
Very much
At
so.
the end of the day, you're burned out, you're tired, and you still get that other client that's calling you at 9 o'clock at night. You already did over 12 hours, and like, you know what, I still gotta take this one for a reason.
Yeah.
It's the people.
Good. So what are some of the challenges that you've encountered along the way? I mean, I know that in any business, you know, from music, film, television to, you know, running a business like here at Mindful Lotus,
Yeah.
people are important.
Mm-hmm.
The right people are important. You know, like I'll use myself as an example. Working in music, film, and television with my business partner Remo, you know, we ran into a lot of different situations that were negative situations that were with negative people that were just mainly looking to either take advantage of the situation or, you know, looking to get something from us and give us nothing in return. And we understood that, but it didn't really click with both of us at the same time until we met this one gentleman at a fundraiser for kids, and he's a multi-Grammy winning producer, and he asked us a simple question. He said, what drives you guys in this business? Like, what makes you passionate about this business? And I told him, I said, somebody told me when I first started that I was too nice to be in this business and that this business was going to eat me up. And he literally just stopped everything and he said, Nick, you want to know what happens to nice people in this business? And I said, I'd love to. And he said, just like this, he said, nice people find other nice people and they do business together.
Right.
At that point, Remo and I decided we need to cut our tail. We need to get rid of all the people that are just here to drain us, and we need to start working with people that are just as passionate about what we do. And I know that Angie, we had talked about that earlier before we started this podcast.
Right.
Because if you have the right people working with you, regardless of what you're doing, you could be selling bandanas in the parking lot. But if you have the right people with you, and they're just as passionate and they genuinely care about what you're doing together, you can move mountains.
Right.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, with you, Louis, going from construction into this, you know, spiritual healing practice business, there had to be challenges. Like, you had to run into challenges.
Well, there still is. I don't think it's ever smooth. Any business is never smooth. You know, everybody will be doing it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And then another thing that you just brought up right now that just sparked an idea with me is that the deeper you get into anything, the more spiritual challenges you encounter, right? So, you know, there's people that are genuinely happy for you, and then there's people that are just not, right?
Yes, that's right.
And so, how do you overcome those, Angie? Like when you run into, because you feel it.
Oh yeah.
You know, you feel like whenever somebody's not really on the same page with you. Or how do you get around that? I mean, what's your focus? Do you stay focused? Do you?
It depends on the situation for me. You know, I try to engage. If it's a person and there's a problem, then we try and work it out. Try and, you know, talk it out and resolve it. If you don't think you can, then it's just time to move on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just some people who don't want to be on the same page with you. Maybe they have a different idea. Or maybe they don't want to put in the work that I do.
Yeah.
I just think you have to be on the same page, but I just try and do the best that I can to communicate and get it figured out if possible.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. I was sharing an experience with you with somebody who wanted to start a publication, but they weren't willing to do the legwork. They weren't willing to put in the hours. You know, like in again, I'll use myself as an example. You know, in music or anything else that you're doing creative, you always have a pre-production phase, where you start to line up everything and get it in order so that you can actually go into production, you know, make it run smoothly, right?
Yeah.
So that the end result is exactly what you envisioned.
Right.
And even in business, I mean, you have to come here in the morning, you have to prep the store, you have to get it ready to open up. You know, it's kind of like pre-production, right? You have to
ground yourself.
Ground yourself. You have to figure out what purchases you want to make, what you think is going to resonate with your public and all that.
Right.
which I'm sure is the same thing with you, Louis. Like when,
yeah.
so when you encounter somebody that, let's say for the first time, that's looking to maybe do a sound bath or do some kind of meditation work, you have to make an assessment of that person, right? To know exactly what it is that you're going to need to provide for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So unless somebody's totally honest with you, it's kind of hard for you to make that assessment, right?
I'll figure it out sooner or later, because not all of them are honest with me in the beginning, but I'll tell them, like, okay, what's going on? You're not telling me the truth. It's just my gut or intuition telling me there's something going on.
Yeah.
And then later on, they'll tell me right after or the next day. They'll tell me, you know what, you were right, spot on. And then I'm thinking, like, I don't want to say it out loud, but I'm like, I knew I was. You know, universe or spirit doesn't lie.
Right.
So when you pick up those energies, it's like energy doesn't lie, and that's what I pick up is energy. I don't see spirits and stuff, but I see energy on people. That's my specialty. But working with people, they're all gonna be different personalities, different problems that they have. So you've got to adjust to every single one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can see that. So, Angie, starting this business, I know that this is your second location, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the first location was
on Main Street.
It was on Main Street here
downtown.
in Lake Elsinore?
Yeah, a few blocks away from the shop.
Yeah, okay, and it's a great little shop too. I still like walking by there.
It is.
But like you had shared with us before, how you were adamant about moving forward. You saw a vision, and you felt passionate about it enough that any challenge that came your way, you were not going to accept that. You were going to hit that challenge, meet it head on, right?
Yes.
And then push your way through.
Exactly.
And so, what kind of energy does it take for that? Like, were you in constant prayer? Did you go home and you know, some people will go home and they'll keep writing the same thing over and over again, thinking that, okay, that's going to help me manifest this into reality, right? What kind of energy did it take for you to do that? Like, what did you have to do? I mean,
to move from that place to this place?
Well, just to start the business in general.
Oh, I was guided. I was guided by spirit to the other store.
Oh, nice.
So I was guided there.
Oh, great.
The story was real short. I'll make a long story very short. But yeah, I think that's how it goes. Anyway, my husband, I'm Mexican, so I didn't want to have Mexican food, and my husband wanted to go to Guadalajara's. And I was like, I don't want to go there. And one day he just said, no, we're going to go. And we pulled up to my old location. And I said, I'm going to move in that store. That's my store. And he said, I didn't know you wanted a store. And I said, well, I don't. I just think I should be there. And I drove by there every day for a month. And somebody was already in that store. And I just wanted to go in and see what was in there. And then one Saturday we drove by there, and this store wasn't open. And then I said, I want to drive by again. And we did. And there was a for rent sign.
Oh, nice.
And so then I called, and the owner said, well, there's 5 people ahead of you. And I said, well, no, I need to go in there. And my husband had to work that Sunday. This is a Sunday now. And he never works a Sunday. And thank God he did. And so I asked my mom to go with me. And we showed up there, even though the owner said someone else wanted it. There was someone that was going to rent it. And my mom and I walked in there. My mom said, your dad and I bought our wedding rings in this building. And the owner goes, how long have you been in Elsinore? And she said, I've been here from day one. And our families knew each other, so he said, well, you can have the building if you want it. And I said, okay. So then he goes and he says, well, I'm going to go get the lease. And he asked me to sign it, and I said, okay. And then he wanted a deposit, and I said, I didn't have any money. And he said, oh shit. And I said, I don't have any money. And he goes, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I just feel like I need to be here. I just feel called to come in here. So he said, okay. So he handed me the keys, and he said, you got to get me the deposit and the rent in a month. And I said, okay. So moved my stuff in there, what little bit of stuff I had, because I started out at farmers markets and fairs.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was doing. And moved a couple of things in there. Store was almost empty. Excuse me. I had no sign. And then my husband had a construction expo to go to in Vegas, and he said, close up, you got to go. And I said, okay. And I hit a jackpot.
Oh,
and
really?
with that jackpot, I came back here and I filled my store.
Yeah. So God, life, and good karma
That's exactly
put that money right in your
it
hand.
sure did. And but also too, I was working at some place that they couldn't keep me. They were closing, and I wasn't a regular employee. I was just I was only there for holidays and things like that. But I had been there for several years. They just didn't put me on the payroll, and so I wasn't going to get a severance package. So I said, it's okay, no worries. And then right when all of this was going on, I didn't know how I was going to come up with the money, and FedEx showed up at my house and gave me an envelope, and it was a severance package.
Wow, really?
And yeah, so then that paid for. I had money,
Yeah.
and that's how I did it. So I just was guided by spirit, and how I got here is driving to that store for all those years, and I saw this place, and I thought, I'd like to have a place that's got some historic value and some history and some property, and I just started saying, what is meant for me cannot be undone. So I would say it on the way to my store and on the way back every time I passed by here, and then it became available, and I jumped on it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But
you just gotta go and do it.
Yeah, you gotta go and do it. I mean, but you have to really, really believe
faith
in what it is that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And know that, right, regardless. I went to a Christian concert one time, and I heard this guy. He was on stage performing, but he had wrote a song about his parents because they had a long marriage and a long relationship. And I remember him using the words. He said, through hell or high water, they supported each other. And that's kind of like that's the mindset that I took on when I started my first business. It's like through hell or high water, I'm going to make this thing work.
Yeah.
And like I had mentioned in our conversation earlier, I went from working a 9-to-5 job to doing my own business, which then had me working from 9 to 9. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there was no days off. There was no time to leisure time. It was, you work to succeed until you get to a point where then you can treat it like a 9-to-5.
Right.
So I think, people that are trying to, whether it be, go back to school, if you're 60 years old and you want to go back to school, go back to school.
You should go back to school.
Whatever that passion is or that desire that you have in your heart, that is going to allow you to succeed in whatever it is you want to do, but also allow you to feel good about yourself, and your accomplishments. I think that's the challenge, is being able to push through.
Right.
When I first wanted to start my business, in the beginning, my father thought I was crazy.
Right.
He said, you're going to quit a job that has great benefits and you get paid really well. Why would you want to quit? Right? But for me, I saw something bigger for myself.
Yeah.
And then I felt that I could be more useful. So I didn't want to allow that to escape me. I wanted to make sure that I acted on it, which I think is what you did, in this spiritual healing world, right? And then you did by knowing that you needed to put this business together.
Well, you have to be stubborn.
Healing center.
Yeah.
You have to be stubborn.
Yeah, there's a lot of stubbornness that goes in there, because people will tell you, no, it's not going to work, you're not going to make it, and you have to not listen to those people.
Right.
You have to continue to move forward. So anybody that's watching this, or anybody that's, listening, you have to know that regardless of what it could be the most minute thing, but if you don't continue to push forward, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to see the benefits.
You would be in that, oh, I wish I would have done that.
Right.
And then you're going to kick yourself.
Yeah.
So you got to at least give it. Yeah, you got to at least give it a try and see, because you never know where it's going to take you.
That's true.
And for me, I didn't. I knew God didn't bring me here to fail, so I'm going to keep on moving forward. And there have been some struggles and some obstacles, but those are lessons.
Yeah, that's the thing too.
Stronger.
Yeah, it makes you stronger.
Yeah.
It sure does. It adds fuel to the fire.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know that the challenges, like you said, they make you stronger. They make you a lot more wise.
Yeah.
But taking that information and be able to elevate yourself using that information, it helps a lot. Because you look at it as a challenge and you say, okay, wait a minute. I did business with this person. they took advantage of that opportunity. They gained something, I gained nothing. I learned from that. I'll never make that mistake again. I'll do it different next time. You don't give up.
Right.
You like you said, you take that as an educational experience and continue to move forward.
Right.
Now, if you keep making the same mistake over and over again, then you probably need to revisit a whole different,
Right.
you know,
need to
opportunity.
reevaluate your plan
Right.
and change it a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Doesn't mean give up. Maybe just change it.
Yeah. So, like with your nonprofit, how did you decide that you wanted to do that? I know you told us about the lady that had the dog and all that, but from there you had to figure out, how am I going to gather resources? Where am I going to deliver these resources? How do I?
Well, for me, I just paid for a lot of it myself until I started doing some fundraising. And then I had to learn how to fundraise because you had to ask people for money. And that's never easy.
No, it's hard.
So and then you have to have a good reason that they're gonna, give you their money. So that was a little bit of a challenge too. But for me, my passion is animals and their rights, and someone's got to be a voice for them. So I just kept looking at it from that point of view that someone's got to speak on their behalf.
So that's the passion. That's the passion that drives you, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, I know Louis is passionate about what he does. And you can tell when somebody's passionate because they talk about it. It becomes their life, right?
Right.
And so then like, wow, that person really is going to succeed, or they're going to be successful at what they do because I see the passion and the desire in them, which is a lot of the challenges that people have in the entertainment industry as well. They're not passionate enough to write music every single day, or practice their vocals or their instrument or whatever.
Well, you got to do the work.
Yeah.
You do definitely have to do the work.
You just got to do the work.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you, what's the reward when you get when you do the work?
For what, the business or?
Yeah, the business or what the people. What drives you?
I think for me, like first of all, I am a spiritual being. I believe in God with all that I am, and so to me, I just like to be a part of being of service. So when people come in here and they comment on how they like the store or it's beautiful, that's a reward for me.
That's what I said when I first walked in.
And then when I do my energy work and someone's feeling amazing after it, and they call me the next day and tell me how good they're feeling and how they're releasing this or coming to terms with that, there's my reward. So I always ask God to use me as a clear channel when I'm doing my energy work, so I feel like I'm accomplishing something in the eyes of God, and assisting my brothers and sisters in their healing. So that's my reward.
Yeah. What about you, Louis? That's a good question.
Pretty similar, but yeah, I get the reward. I feel I get rewarded when the people are healing. When I see people when they do a 360, and then I see them from down here all the way up here now, or like if I haven't talked to them for a month, I worked on them and talk to them in a month later, they're like a whole different person. Like, wow.
Yeah.
That's what I get out of it, is like when I see the people healing or getting better.
Yeah.
That's my reward.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people like coming to us because we're real people.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you about my police officer friends, we want to hang out with like-minded people and people who are very authentic, and they get that. When you walk through the door here, we're not all namaste, sticky, sweet.
Yeah.
We're we got.
Sometimes you have a little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a wicked sense of humor, but I mean, that's who I am, and that's who he is, and that's who you are. So I'd rather be myself. Because that's how I'm always that way. I'm that way here, and I'm that way at home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that speaks to the people that you're able to connect with, because they see that there's a genuine part of you that they're witnessing or experiencing.
Right.
And I think that's, for me, I know it's a comfortable feeling when I'm meeting with somebody and I realize, like, wow, this person's not afraid to express this in front of me or say that, or you know what I mean? It lets me know, like, not only are they being genuine with me, but they trust me enough to be themselves, in the circle or wherever we're at.
Right.
So I know that's very rewarding also, because for people to trust you, it's something that's earned. It's not, a right, or it's not something that, you can just go pluck off of a shelf. You know, trust is something that's not only rewarding for you if somebody trusts you,
Right.
but it's also rewarding for the other person when they recognize or realize that you actually trust them. You know, so I completely feel like what you guys are
You
talking
connect
about.
with us because we're humans.
Yeah,
We're real people, and you know we're not perfect.
Yeah, no, none of us are, and I think that's what makes me like love coming here is that you don't. It's not like you said. It's not like, you know, this polished kind of atmosphere.
No.
I mean, it's very, very professional. Don't get me wrong. Anybody that's out there, you got to come down here. It's a very professional environment.
Oh, yeah.
It's very rewarding as soon as you walk in the door. Just the atmosphere, the fragrance, you know, that you're taking in, and then the energy that's here, right? But then once they get to know you and Louis, and you know even Jerry, like the other people that work here, then you realize like I'm in the presence of people that have the same challenges I have in life. They have the same obstacles. The difference is that they know a little bit more about this than I do, and they're willing to share it with me. And so that makes a big difference in people's lives, you know. But trust is the number one thing.
It sure is.
Oh yeah.
It's important.
I don't like lying.
No.
Yeah, to me that just seems like a waste of time. Like,
No.
good or bad, just tell me what the deal is.
Just be
you know
honest.
what I mean?
Just come right out and say.
Yeah, I've had difficult challenges in my life. I can handle your negative response to what it is that I'm, you know.
And I was gonna ask you guys. I know you guys mentioned about you moving. The store was like a calling for you. What made you get into spirituality? What was the first steps?
Oh gosh, ever since I was little, I've been intuitive. Ever since I was a child.
Okay.
So you know, I was that special kid, but my parents nurtured it. They didn't tell me to be quiet. I was always intuitive and always different as a kid, and I still am.
You were raised here in Nelson?
I was raised here in Nelson. I've lived here almost all my whole entire life. I remembered this place when I was growing up, a little kid.
Wow.
Yeah, I recently had somebody. My friend came in last Saturday that I've known since I was in kindergarten. And he goes, I remember this place, you know, because you know it's been here since the early 1900s.
Wow.
So we remember it. Yeah.
So you've been practicing since you were young. Now you've been
ever since I was young. Well, my grandparents, you know, they raised us on herbs and weird things and.
Did they really?
Yeah, but we didn't think it was weird. I was a kid.
Were they hippies?
I just thought everybody, you know, had herbs in their ears when they had an earache and things like that. You know, I just.
Oh, yeah, you're Mexican.
I am 100. Well, not 100%. But
were they like free thinking kind of people, like almost like a hippie, or they are just more focused on like
indigenous? They weren't so much hippie. They were very Mexican, and we didn't go to the doctor. They did their thing, and we were just raised that way. And but it wasn't until I think it was like later, went to high school and got involved with boys and dances and football games and kind of got off my spiritual self. And then when I got married and had my son, then I re-awoke. If you want to call it that.
Kids will change your life.
Yeah, they sure will. So
they'll change your direction. They'll change everything.
But it's always been just a way that I've always been.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know anything different.
What's that?
What about you?
In regards to
getting into this path, like with religion or
when I got sick. Yeah, when I got sick, that changed everything for me.
Yeah.
Because I was young, and I was doing really well in life. We had bought our first house like when I was 21 years old, and then I realized like real estate is a great thing.
And that was in California already?
It was in California. Yeah, I was in Rialto.
Right?
Yeah, originally I'm from Kansas.
Okay.
Yeah. And I bought my first house here in Rialto.
Okay.
When I was 21, and then I realized like, wow, this is like a bank. Like I could turn around and flip this house and make several $1,000s. And so I started looking into other properties and buying them and selling them.
Yeah.
And had probably more money than a 23-year-old should have at that moment, and
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I just as it was in a place in my life at that point where I realized like I can go buy whatever I want right now. You know
That's a
what I
good
mean?
feeling, huh?
It's a
You're
good
21
feeling,
years old.
but you know what's crazy is I didn't have a desire to buy anything.
Right.
You know, like I remember up until that point I kept thinking like, man, I'm gonna get myself a 70 Nova. Come on, fix it up. I'm gonna do all this. Then I had all this money, and all of a sudden I didn't want that car anymore.
Right.
You know, but you know, I wasn't really like on a great spiritual path or a great path. You know, I started venturing off into things that were not good for me, and hanging out with people that were bad influence in my life, and then I got sick. And after I got sick, then I realized that all of that stuff I had been working for didn't mean anything at all, nothing. Like from this point on, none of that's going to help you. So then I had to completely, totally rely on my faith and just continuing to think positive and believe that this is not where God, life, and good karma want me to be. They want me to be over here. And so that changed my whole direction. And like I had mentioned before, I struggled with that because I really didn't know why that was happening to me. And I didn't know why God had left me here on this earth. But then I started looking into everything. I started looking into Taoism and Buddhism and, you know, Mormon, you know, beliefs and everything, just trying to figure out, like, what is this that I'm dealing with, and why do I feel like I'm just in limbo right now, even though I know God did this miraculous healing in my life. And then I just started connecting with people that were more spiritually driven than religious driven.
Yeah, big difference.
Yeah, it is a huge difference. And I realized that these people that were spiritual were, they were just more focused on what it is where they were going in life.
No judgment.
No judgment at all. Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Spiritually.
Yeah, because
No
I remember
judgment.
going to a church here in Riverside, and it was a huge church, and you know, people are judgmental in that environment. You know, they want you to be connected with God, but they don't want you to be connected with God better than they are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And they want you to go through them to get to God.
Exactly. And so I realized that was something that I needed to just research and find on my own.
Right.
And so yeah, that was the thing. And then I met Remo, and my wife had always been telling me, like, you got to have balance in your life. And I was like, what is balance? Like, I just know how to work and take care of my family. Like, you know, that's the balance I need. But I didn't realize that I needed balance for me in my life. And then I met Remo, and he started explaining to me a little bit more about spirituality, you know, some of the things that he used to feed his soul and his spiritual journey. And then I started learning more about that and then researching it on my own. And I think probably the biggest thing, in my opinion, for anybody is to be open-minded. You know, if you're not open-minded, then you're going to not receive information that's there for you.
Right.
And you don't have to accept 100% of everything that somebody's maybe trying to share with you. You might just learn a little piece of it, but that little piece can make a difference. You know, so
you got to do something.
Yeah.
You just can't sit on the couch and wait for something to happen. You got to go out and look for it.
You do have to get out, and you know, and I find that talking with people,
like-minded people.
Yeah, but I mean, I talk to everybody. You know, my wife tells me all the time, like, I leave you alone for 5 minutes, and you come back, and you're already best friends with this person. You know, and it's because I just enjoy. I'm thankful. You know, I would say I enjoy life. I enjoy life to the fullest. You know, but I'm just thankful. Every day I'm thankful that I meet a new person, I have a new experience, I drive down a new road, I see a new building that I've never seen before. I'm just thankful. You know, I'm constantly observing, you know, my environment and where I'm at. You know, that happened because when I was a kid, you want to be aware of where you're at. You know, I mean, is somebody gonna try to beat you up, or whatever? But then I took that and I said, you know what? There's experiences out there that I'm not aware of because I'm not paying attention. And so, yeah, now I'm thankful. I notice everything.
Gratitude.
Yeah. I got
Important.
flowers. Yesterday my wife and I were driving. I drove her to her doctor appointment. And I remember like driving through Arcadia and just seeing like these really green bushes with flowers and this really green grass. We pulled up to the corner and I told my wife, I want my grass to be like that. And she was like, why are you looking at grass?
Because it's beautiful.
Because it's beautiful and it's fresh and
green.
it's organic, you know what I mean? And I appreciate it's a living thing, you know, so yeah, just having an appreciation for life.
Yeah.
And understanding that, you know, I've been given a gift to remain here and enjoy moments like this with you guys.
You have purpose.
I believe I do.
You do.
You know, and I just continue to just move forward. But yeah, that was what did it for me, was you know, coming that close to leaving this earth. It just changed
scary.
everything.
I can't even imagine.
It is scary. That when I thought about it afterwards, I thought to myself, man, I almost was gone. You know,
Yikes.
and it's like you just don't understand how important a day is until you get that close to death.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's been a spiritual journey, one that I enjoy now, and I constantly am searching and seeking more knowledge, more experience, more wisdom. I pray for wisdom every day, and I'm thankful, you know. But yeah, so it's, you know, it's like anything else. I mean, if you don't continue to work and move forward, you're not going to succeed.
Right.
It's the reason why athletes practice every day and musicians
You
and
have
so forth.
You have to,
Yeah. Well, that's been a great, amazing talk with you guys.
Yes, that's
you know,
awesome.
One last thing that I wanted to ask Angie was, during this whole time that you were overcoming these challenges and getting your business going and believing really, really in yourself and what the journey that you're about to embark on. What was your husband saying through all of this?
Well, a lot of times he was kept in the dark. Just only because he would have talked me out of it. So a lot of times it was after that I told him. He's always been very supportive of all my crazy ideas and my wacky thoughts, and you know, sometimes he'll say, "You're just gonna do it anyway. Why are you even mentioning it to me?" And I'm like, "That's a good point. I'm gonna do it anyway." But he's just very supportive. You know,
he's good people.
He is. He's, you know, when I moved in here and opened up and unlocked the door for him when he came in, he just said, "Oh my gosh, this is so big," because my other place was less than 1,000 square feet. You come in here and look how big it is. And he's like, "What have you got us into again?" And I said, "It's gonna be great." And he just shakes his head and he's like, "Okay, what do we have to do?" And I go, "We have to paint." So, you know, he's always supporting. And
it helps to have that support. I mean, because I know you do. Louis, like I know that your wife is like extremely supportive. You know, and mine also. I mean, my wife, you know, she works her tail off. And
and it's kind of like the same with everybody. Like, in the beginning, when you're getting into something, you're like, it's kind of like longing. You're like, why are you getting back into this, or why are you getting into it? Like, well, I'm gonna help people, or I'm helping myself, and they're like, okay, but yeah, it is the same way, you know. But
he balances me. I mean, because I'm up here and he's down here. So
my wife
he
too.
grounds me.
My wife too. I'm like I always tell I explain it to Remo like this. I said, I'm like the dog at the end of the leash, and there's like a stake in the ground, and I'm like everywhere, all over, trying to get loose and trying to get going, and my wife is the stake. She's like, no, you're only going to go this far, and these are the areas that, and she keeps me grounded that way.
Me too.
You know, because otherwise I'd be off and, you know.
I do all kinds of stuff. I'd be everywhere.
No, it's funny because you know, my wife and I will talk. Just recently, I forgot what I was talking about, and I told her about something, and she looked at me and she said, "When did we get into that?" And I'm like, "I told you about it." And she was like, "I don't remember." And I'm like, "Maybe I didn't tell you about it." But oh, by the way, Pam, we're invested in this new business that's starting over here. And so she tells me, like, I never know what you're doing. Like, I don't know where you're at, what you're doing. I mean, she knows where I'm at every day, but business-wise. She doesn't know what's going on in here, and she doesn't know what deals I'm making or what business ventures I'm getting into.
Right.
And I really don't like. I'm like you, kind of. I don't like to tell her until I know that I have something solid, and then I'll say, oh, by the way, we're involved in this paper company or this composting company, or you know, we started a new production company, and she's like, man, I just never know what you're doing.
That's what my husband says too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll come home and he's like, what'd you get into today? I'm like, I didn't do anything today. And he's like, oh, today was a good day then. It didn't cost me any money. And I'm like, nope, you're good.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
He's a great guy. Like,
no, he is a great guy.
I couldn't have done this without his support.
Yeah, no, I enjoy talking with him. I had a great conversation with him last time we were here. And I was like, man, this dude's somebody I could kick it with and hang out with. Yeah, he's just a really cool
He likes
person.
you. He's very supportive.
Yeah.
He's very supportive.
Yeah. And with Louie, I mean, I get along great. You know, like your brother, sister-in-law, very, 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 very hardworking people.
Oh yeah, they are.
You know, I admire them. I really do, because what they do is not easy.
No.
But they're very good at it. You know, and I would have them over at my place any day of the week.
Right.
Yeah.
They are good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, good. Well, I know that we've spent some time talking about us.
Yes.
And some of our challenges, and I would encourage anybody who wants to venture out, wants to explore opportunity, to contact us.
Yeah.
You know, like we're always willing to help with advice. We don't have all of the answers.
No.
You know, speak for myself. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the knowledge in the world, but I do know a lot of people. And if I don't have the answer, I can get you to somebody who does. So, you know, if there's anybody that is looking into doing something, if you guys are looking to start a business or learn something, or you need some help, I would encourage them to call Angie.
Yeah, we'll point them in the right direction. We do. There's a few people who have come in. And we did a small women's group a while back, and we helped a lot of ladies, you know, get going.
Yeah.
So, you know, and like you said, if we don't have the answer, we'll try and figure it out for you.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
most definitely. It's actually a lot easier than people think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got a good team here. I mean, we got Sashi, we got Angie, of course, myself. We got people that are I guess you could say they're the best in their field. Yeah, so it's not like only read a book, you know, and we're gonna try to give you the best information we can. You know, the best circle that we have.
Yeah.
You know.
It's about experiences.
Yeah.
You learn by experience.
Yeah.
You know.
You're right.
You do. We just don't read a book. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah. And it's good to learn from somebody who's, like you said, who's an expert in their field.
Yeah.
You know, you learn the process the right way, and which is what I tell a lot of the young people that I mentor in the arts. You know, learn from this person. They're going to teach you the right way to do this. The artist that I'm working with right now, she's being co-managed by her mom, and I'm educating the mom and telling her, like, this is where your revenue streams are. This is how you protect your daughter. These are the things that you need to be cautious of in this business. And you know, the reason I do that is because it makes my job easier. Because now I know we're on the same page.
Right.
And I always tell her, like, every bit of information I'm giving you in regards to this business, if you want to go talk to an attorney, they'll tell you the same thing.
Right.
You know, because I'm not here to hide anything from you. I want you to have a good experience in this industry.
Right.
And so, you know, educating people is also rewarding. You know, especially it is for me. I know it's really rewarding for me, because I feel like I'm creating or helping deliver better people into this industry. You know, so yep. Anyway, I think you know, if anybody wants any advice or they need, you know, somebody to talk to, or good or bad. I mean, if you've got you know, challenges in life and there are obstacles and you don't know how to overcome them, you know, I would recommend that they give you guys a call here at Mindful Lotus.
We'll try and point you in the right direction.
Absolutely.
To kind of get centered and grounded and see what we can do for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys again.
Thank you, Nick, as
for
always. Thank you.
another amazing day.
Yes, always.
I love my Thursdays at Mindful Lotus.
Oh,
I
we
look forward
appreciate
to it.
you.
Oh no, I love this place. It's got energy. Like, it just makes you feel good. The whole little town is like,
I know,
you know,
town.
yeah, it's great. I got to get some more people down
Nice
here.
history.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So, thank you guys
Thank you.
again. Okay.
Yes.
Great. And I would encourage anybody to check out some of the other episodes
Yeah.
that we have there. Great. Thank you guys.
Thanks.